Hey everybody, I am Chris Baker from Lucky Gunner, and today I'm going to talk about the Ruger SP101 revolver, a gun that is renowned for rugged durability in a small package, but as small revolvers go, it's actually kind of bulky and heavy. Most other revolvers this size are 6-shooters. SP101 only has a 5-round capacity. Other 5-shot guns like the LCR or J-frames are a bit more compact than this. So, despite its reputation as a well-built gun, it does not seem to be all that popular for daily carry, even among revolver enthusiasts. But today, I think the appeal of the SP101 is in all the stuff you can do with it other than daily carry. But first, let's look at where this gun came from. The Ruger SP101 was launched in 1988 as the company's first small frame revolver, essentially a scaled down GP100, originally a 5-shot 38 special with 2¼ inch or 3-inch barrels. It had a pinned front sight and an integral trench style rear sight. The original grips were rubber with wood inserts, but that quickly changed to black plastic inserts, which is what you will still find on the most basic models today. Ruger priced the SP101 a little higher than the competition, which was kind of unusual for them at the time. Normally, they were the budget-friendly alternative to Smith & Wesson, but Bill Ruger firmly believed that the SP101 was, quote, a better gun than anything else of its kind. Back in '88, the MSRP was $370, about $960 today. Ruger lists the current base model at $919, but actual prices tend to be in the high 600 to low 700s. Aside from Taurus, that's actually a bit less than most other small steel frame revolvers. In 1990, they added 4-inch adjustable sight models in 38 and 22 long rifle. Overall, sales were modest, but then, after persistent urging from Masad Ayub, Bill Ruger decided to offer a batch chambered for .357 Magnum. That turned out to be a huge success, and .357 quickly became the most common chambering for the gun. Most SP101s are double action, single action, but some are offered as double action only with a bobbed hammer spur. While all models were stainless steel for a long time, Ruger added some blued versions in 2018. They've also added 9mm and .327 Federal Magnum options, along with numerous other variants and distributor exclusives. The SP101's size and weight suggest that it's a close match for a Smith & Wesson J-frame, but in the hand, it feels noticeably bulkier, and that's intentional. It's made entirely from cast steel and has a stout, overbuilt frame that gives it a much more substantial feel than most other small frame revolvers. It's often taken for granted that that appearance means the SP101 is also unusually durable, even though very few shooters will ever run enough rounds through a small revolver to find out what it takes to actually wear one out. So I asked a few guys in the industry who do have serious time with the SP101, and they confirmed that yes, the legend is real. The gun is as tough as it looks. It will handle a steady diet of Magnums better than a Smith & Wesson K-frame, at least the old ones. Compared to a J-frame, it's not even close. In general, Ruger's approach to revolvers is to just build them stronger than they need to be. Of course, that extra bulk and weight also makes the SP101 more shootable than most small frame revolvers. That, combined with its durability, made it a popular backup and plainclothes gun for cops in the 90s. It also caught on with armed citizens as concealed carry laws expanded in that decade. But of course, then came the polymer wave. By the early 2000s, revolvers were a tough sell, especially heavy steel ones like the SP101. The wheel gun market has bounced back somewhat in recent years, but today the SP101 faces much stiffer competition than it did in 1989. The model I have here is the 2¼ inch Wiley Clap edition of the SP101. We've had this in the company collection for over a decade, and it has seen a lot of use. It's possibly the best evolution of the SP101 for concealed carry thanks to the improved sights. For holsters, there are tons of leather options, but modern Kydex appendix holsters are limited. The best one I know of is the Apollo from Dark Star Gear. It fits both the 2 and 3-inch SP101s. I tried pairing it with a Filster Enigma with the optional sport belt. That has turned out to be a nice combo. You get excellent support and concealment regardless of what kind of clothes you're wearing. So we've got an SP101 with some excellent factory upgrades. We have a state-of-the-art concealed carry system to go with it. And the gun still feels kind of outdated. Even if, like myself, you are a stubborn, out-of-touch contrarian who thinks revolvers are still relevant, the size to capacity ratio is not great. At 26 ounces, it's the heaviest 5-shot 357 or 38 on the market. The steel-framed Kimber K6S, Colt Cobra, and Taurus 856 all weigh less and hold 20% more ammo. And it certainly doesn't help that the double-action triggers are heavier than most, and they can be kind of gritty. 12 to 14 pounds seems to be fairly typical. Now, if none of that bothers you, it's not a bad carry gun. They are reliable and they're shootable, and that's what really matters. But let's look outside of the concealed carry role. The SP101s in smaller calibers with longer barrels are incredibly fun, versatile revolvers. I've got 3 examples that we're going to look at along with some simple upgrades I've given them. We'll start with these two in 327 Magnum. I think this gun and caliber were made for each other. You get 6 shots with ballistics equal to or better than 38 Special. The gun's weight tames recoil even with Magnum loads. There's still a handful, but the lighter 327s are not bad. Shooting 32 H&R Magnum or 32 long ammo makes it even more pleasant. The standard options are the 3-inch stainless fixed sight model and the stainless 4-inch with adjustable sights. But my favorite SP101 is this 3-inch Lipsy's exclusive model. It has a blued finish, half-lug barrel, adjustable rear sights, and a gold bead front. It comes with wood insert rubber grips, but here it's wearing a set of walnut wood grips from Badger Custom Grips. Back in 2020, Lipsy's did a 357 Magnum version of this. It was just begging to be made in 327, which they finally did this last fall. The Lipsy's guns are the only SP101s I know of with adjustable sights that are not 4-inch. Really handy when shooting various 32 loads with different points of impact. This gun shoots and handles kind of like an 80% scale K-frame. With 32 long, there is virtually 0 recoil, which is tremendously satisfying and also makes it ideal for teaching new shooters. If I was going to carry any SP101, it would be this one. I tend to lean toward lighter revolvers for everyday carry, but this would be perfect for kind of a light-duty woods gun, maybe with some hotter 32 Magnum or 327 loads. The one thing it's missing is a memorable name. Right now, it's officially called Ruger 15709, which does not exactly roll off the tongue. I bet if they called it something like the SP101 Trailmaster, they could probably sell twice as many of them. Swapping out grips is one of the easiest ways to upgrade your revolver. The factory grips are functional, maybe even better than most, but they're a bit small for my hands. Wider grips can improve recoil control and trigger reach. Some of them also just look really nice, and they give the gun a custom feel without the custom price tag. I read a lot of positive reports about these Badger grips. They are some of the shortest SP101 grips I could find, but more hand-filling than the factory grips, and they just look great in photos. But I just could not get used to the unusual grip angle. I really had to kind of crank my wrist down when I was using them. If I were to take this gun out for a hike, I would go with the Crimson Trace laser grips instead. Even ignoring the laser, they're very comfortable grips. They don't look nearly as classy, but I really like having a laser on a revolver. The 4-inch 327 is also impressive. This is what I would go with for a dedicated range gun. It has the adjustable rear sight with a green fiber optic front, full lug barrel. Recoil is even less than the 3-inch model. It only weighs 2.5 ounces more, but all that weight is at the end of the muzzle, and it definitely makes a difference with those heavier Magnum loads. For me, the balance didn't quite feel right until I put a set of Packmayer wood grips on it. Now it handles kind of like a full-size revolver, but without all the weight. These don't look as nice as some of the other wood grips. They are mass-produced, and it shows, but they're very affordable and functional. By the way, Packmayer also makes a rubber version of this grip. It's probably the best option for pure recoil management. I shot some lighter 357 Magnums through the 2-inch gun with those grips, and it was really not bad at all. I've also been messing around with the 22 long rifle version, which has a 4-inch half-lug barrel. This is currently the only 22 version in the Ruger catalog. The original 22 SP101 was a 6-shot gun. In 2011, they relaunched it with an 8-shot cylinder, which is 33.333% more fun in between reloads. I've replaced the adjustable rear sight with an Alchin optic mount with a Holosun 407C. The mount is only held on by one screw, so I'm really not sure how well it would hold up under heavy recoil, but it's worked fine on the 22 so far. A common challenge with dot optics on revolvers, this one included, is elevation. Even with the elevation adjustment maxed out on the optic, the dot can still sit several inches below the point of impact, so all your shots end up well above the target. A simple fix is to shim the front of the optic by about 1 degree. ADE Advanced Optics sells shims for around $12, and they get the job done. The grips I have on this one are rosewood snakeskin grips from Altamont. They're similar to the grips that come with the Match Champion variant of the SP101. I think I like the feel of these even more than the Packmayer grips. They did require quite a bit of hand fitting with a Dremel and some files before I could install them, so be prepared for that. I picked up this gun just in time to include it in this video, so I've not had a chance to shoot it a ton yet. But so far, it's a lot of fun. You might end up seeing it again in the near future as part of another project I'm working on. Okay, let's talk about the trigger on these guns. The factory hammer spring is 14 pounds on the centerfire guns. The actual measured double action pull weight varies, but it's heavy. You can easily swap that out for an aftermarket spring from Wilson Combat, Wolf Gun Springs, or M Carbo. Those range from 9 to 12 pounds. The 9 or 10 pound springs will give you the best trigger, but it may cause light primer strikes, especially with imported ammo. Domestic loads tend to work well most of the time in my experience. A 12-pound spring is not quite as nice, but it should be more reliable. The 22 version is a bit different. Like all rimfire revolvers, it comes with a heavier hammer spring to help set off those primers. The aftermarket springs for this one are about 13 pounds. I did not have a chance to get one of those, so I tried it with a 12-pound spring. That gave me failures to fire about 10% of the time with various CCI loads, but it did work fine every time with the premium Ely brand ammo. So with either the rimfire or centerfire guns, you might have to experiment to find a spring and ammo combo that works for you. Most of the spring kits also include a reduced power trigger return spring, but I actually skip those. They do reduce the trigger pull a bit more than the hammer spring alone, but they soften the reset too much, and it's just too easy to outrun the trigger under speed and short stroke it. The factory return spring avoids that problem. Swapping the hammer spring takes 15 minutes, costs under 20 bucks. Polishing the internals helps too, especially if your action feels a little rough. M Carbo has an excellent walkthrough video on that. It will not lighten the pull, but it kind of smooths everything out. With a 10-pound spring and some polishing, the SP101 triggers are comparable to a factory LCR trigger, which tend to be really nice right out of the box. The SP101 is not the hottest carry gun of 2025, but give it the right roll and a couple of smart upgrades, and it's still got a few tricks left. If one of those tricks is eating 32s, 22s, 38s, or 357s, we have got you covered with lightning fast shipping at Lucky Gunner.